If you're a local listener, we want to give a quick shout out to a local business we're obsessed with. Mirror Magic Hair Design, located on McLaughlin Boulevard in Oregon City.
I always look forward to my next appointment with Andrea at Mirror Magic Hair Design. She's the owner, and not only is she incredibly personable and funny, she has poured herself into ensuring that Mirror Magic has nice decor, professional hair products, offers fantastic cuts and color, and ultimately that all of her clients are truly happy. They offer a wide array of services, so check them out. She does incredible work, and without a doubt, the amazing results always make my day.
Call to schedule at 503-650-0550. You can also find their contact info in our show notes. Caitlin.
Hi, Cassie.
Hi, creepy people.
Hello.
Hi, Patreon.
Hello, Patreon.
They're seeing us in video form for the tarot reading as usual.
Yes.
All right. I think we should say hi to all of our new listeners. Have we done that yet? Just say, hey, thanks for listening. The dogs are in the background still grunting.
Molly, you sound like a piglet. The pod dogs are real extra today.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we've gotten a lot of new listeners and people finding us, which is great and fun. And
yay.
Hi. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. We do a tarot reading at the beginning of every episode to give us some insight about the story. So we're going to do that now. And then the Patreon gets a video of it.
Oh, the cards are right here. Is that what you're trying to...
Yeah, she has the cards. I'm trying to hint at her to get the cards.
I'm not picking up what you're putting down at all.
They have been sitting under selenite cleansing.
For you.
I'm thinking about my story, sending my energy. Wait, maybe I'm feeling like I need to hold them.
Okay. Cut them, baby.
And just get my energy.
They've got the fresh energy from that selenite.
I'm feeling like I need to shuffle. I'm just doing what I'm feeling, you guys. I don't know why.
I like it.
I do the things that I do.
Plus also,
I like to shuffle this deck. I hate shuffling the other deck. Oh, we got the Oogie Boogie. It's the Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie.
It is, what is XV? Fuck. It is X is 10 and V is 5, 15. 15.
That doesn't feel right.
The devil?
Okay.
What's the number on it? I'm so confused.
We're going to have to Google it because I literally don't know.
Anyway, we got the devil, which does not sound good.
But as you know, for tarot, the death card isn't always bad, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, 15.
It's 15.
Okay. Cassie,
why is
you're
15?
A genius.
Is there 15 devil card? Why is it?
Oh, because
the devil was just the devil card. Just one card.
Okay, but there's major arcana and they are numbered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. All right.
Okay, so this card, the devil represents temptation, overindulgence, and bad habits, which happen to be some of Oogie Boogie's favorite things.
My bugs.
So in the upright position, if you're caught up in self-indulgence or vice, it's time to rein it in and regain control. Been there.
Y'all.
Don't gamble with your health and happiness. Remember that instant gratification isn't satisfying in the long term, so come up with a lasting plan for success.
Interesting.
We shall see.
We might do a little Googling after. Okay. So this building we're going to be talking about today is in Gooding, Idaho. It's no good. Just kidding. I'm sure Gooding is great. This building is now Gooding University Inn and Resort. Resort's kind of a funny way to describe this building because it is a really old building that has been turned into a resort or inn. It doesn't look like they have like resort things like a spa and like a pool and stuff.
So what makes
it's
it a
literally
resort?
I don't think anything.
Okay. All right.
It seems like a nice place from all the reviews. It's been renovated. It doesn't look old and creepy anymore. Yeah, so although this place might look like comfortable now, it does have a deeply uncomfortable past.
Oh, good.
That we're going to talk about. But first, we're going to start with the good stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird, right, that it's named Gooding University Inn and Resort. Like, that was kind of a weird thing, but I'll
Yeah.
explain. So the building was first called Gooding College, and that was built in 1917. So it was actually a college at first.
Okay.
And I think, like, with the renaming, they're just kind of, going back to their roots because it's like a historic building. It's like a historic building.
It's totally like historic and shit.
That's what I sound like when I talk.
No, you don't. Oh my gosh.
So it is a really historical building. I'm not going to say like again as much as I want to. This was the only college in southern Idaho at the time, and they only offered one type of degree, the Bachelor of Arts.
What?
Bachelor of Arts.
Okay.
I just like to call it the Bachelor of Arts
Okay.
because I'm 12.
Okay.
The year 1928 saw peak enrollment for the college. A whopping 209 students attended.
Wowzers.
Yeah, so pretty big.
Proud of that.
It looked like this school was going to be around for a while. In 1931, it was being called a valuable asset to southern Idaho.
Wow.
Quotes.
Things.
Things looked pretty good, but then the college closed in 1938. So it was only open for 21 years.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, for like a pretty promising, like valuable asset. They sure like shut it down pretty quick.
That escalated quickly.
Today, there is only one building left from the college, which is the dormitory called Tenney Hall, named after the school's president. He was the president of the school from the time it opened until 1935. So it closed in 1938. So it seems to me like maybe his leaving could have been like one of the reasons for the school's downfall. Yeah. I have absolutely no evidence of that. I'm just like inferring from the dates. And like,
yeah. I mean, you can make some assumptions.
That's what
based on
came to
that.
me. I don't know.
Yeah.
When the school closed, it was given to the It was given to the meth heads.
You mean Methodist?
Yeah. It was given to the Methodist Church because they had been helping to finance it. They'd been like donating a lot of money. In 1941, the Methodist Church donated the school to the state so it could develop a tuberculosis hospital.
Oh, no.
Yes. This tuberculosis hospital was operational from 1947 to 1976.
Oh, wow.
In case you don't know what tuberculosis is, I'm going to keep saying tuberculosis and I'm going to drive myself crazy. So I'm going to start saying TB because it's easier for me.
Yeah.
So TB, also called consumption, was a very contagious disease where bacteria most commonly attacked the lungs. It could attack other parts of the body. Most commonly, it was the lungs. So symptoms were a terrible cough, coughing up blood,
Yeah.
fever, fatigue, and weight loss, which is like one of the reasons they called it consumption, because like people lose so much weight.
Yeah, I literally consumed you.
Since it was so contagious, they sent people that were infected to these specialized TB hospitals. They performed surgeries that would collapse the lungs, which I know sounds horrible, kind of like on the same line as like lobotomies and stuff.
Yeah.
But it does actually work to cure the disease by cutting off the bacteria from oxygen. So it did actually work, but complications from like collapsing a lung were very, very bad and ended in death most of the time. So like people would die just as much from having the surgery done as from tuberculosis. So
I wonder if that's still something that they actively do.
Actually, it is. Funny you say that.
I was going to say, because I feel like the part that made it fatal was just that they were performing those types of surgeries before a lot of aspects of medicine were really like more modernized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So they do still actually do this surgery today with drug-resistant tuberculosis, which is terrifying. Wow. Yeah. So, but they obviously, I'm sure they have more technology and like things to help you if something does go wrong.
Right. Yeah.
I know. It sounds so icky. So there's a lot of stories around how they treated people in like tuberculosis hospitals, and they're not very good.
Not great.
No, but this time in the 40s seems like they were starting to get better with it. And actually they started using antibiotics to treat the disease. So when this hospital was built, I want to think like people were treated better than maybe in the past. So I don't want to like play it off like they did these horrible things to these tuberculosis patients in this particular hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. There's no stories on people being mistreated and stuff here. So I just wanted to put that out there. I didn't want to spin it into like a weird story.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that's probably a good sign if you're not hearing like the kind of typical horror stories that might have been common from like the previous era.
Yeah. And that's not to say there wasn't like its fair share of like pain and suffering.
Of course.
Tuberculosis is awful. So,
but that's different. You know, it's just like how, you know, in a lot of like the colonies where they sent like lepers to live, like how abused they were.
I think it's still kind of, there was still a stigma around it.
Yeah,
I would imagine. The public didn't treat them very well. So we'll talk about that a little bit here. This hospital actually had a pretty stellar doctor named Dr. Hart that helped open the Idaho State Tuberculosis Hospital. And he was the first to use X-ray screening to diagnose tuberculosis.
Oh, Dr. Smarty Pants.
He was. This was very important in early or asymptomatic detection. This is how they still diagnose it today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes sense because I'm sure you can tell by looking at somebody's lungs in like that type of, you know, imaging.
Yeah. They showed a picture of it. I didn't save it, but like they pointed out how you can see it and stuff. I don't fucking see it. It's an X-ray, but it's like trying to see someone's baby on their sonogram thing. Yeah. And you're like, yep, that's some gray and white blob. Black and white blob. I don't know why I said gray.
But it is. It's like shades of gray and black and white. And you're like, when it's really early, like you really can't tell with
I can't
a lot
see
of
it.
stuff.
If you're showing me your baby's ultrasound picture, just know that I cannot see it.
Yeah. It's just because she's still working on her medical degree.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
This doctor really felt for his patients because of the stigma for someone with tuberculosis at the time. It was really awful. I want to read this quote from the Historical Exhibits online collection website. It's a weird like link, so I didn't want to read like the link part, but I'll link it for you guys. So in this article, on this website, they were talking about the things people would do to not get tuberculosis, like not sneezing and coughing. And like there was all these signs around about how you should cover your mouth and kind of like today.
You should probably do that.
Yes, there's a sign. I'll probably add it in with the episode photos, but it was just like, it just reminded me of what's going on now. It was like someone sneezing and they showed the whole sneeze spray and they're like,
Ew.
cover your mouth. It was so crazy. So it's talking about all of these like things they put in place to help protect people. And this is the quote that goes along with that. This new rule of behavior was sensible, but it made the tubercular invalid and untouchable, a complete outcast. Many lost their jobs because of the panic they created among coworkers. Many landlords refused to house them. Hotel proprietors, forced to consider the safety of other guests, turned them away. Rejected by society, tuberculosis victims gathered in secluded tuberculosis hospitals to die. I know.
That's so sad.
It is really sad.
I mean, it makes sense to take the safety precautions, but all of the people that are like, oh, you can't live here anymore. It's like, yikes.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, you have a cough, you can't come to my Christmas party, like, right now. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. At least we don't have, like, big COVID hospitals to send people to now. Like, I mean, I guess we kind of
At
do.
the height of it, we definitely did. I mean, there's definitely parts of the country where it's like, the hospital is just one giant COVID ward.
Oh, man. So there was a pretty huge reason that Dr. Hart identified with these people who had such a huge stigma put on them. And that is because he was one of the first female-to-male transgender person to have a hysterectomy and even use hormone therapy later.
Wow.
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh. My whole body is just like chilled. That is, wow. That is wild.
I cannot remember what year.
But that's an incredibly long time ago compared to like thinking about how far we've come in regards to issues with gender and gender identification and wow.
Yes. And I know I will link it. There is a bunch of information on Dr. Hart. He did go through some, obviously, people back then, even now, don't agree with that kind of thing. And he really went through it. So,
which fuck you. You don't have to agree with it.
I know.
Obviously, it's not for you to decide.
He was amazing and did some amazing things for people.
Jesus. Let people live their best life so that they can do things that are good for the world like that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. So when the hospital shut down, it just sat there, abandoned, empty, cold, dark. A perfect recipe for haunted soup.
Wait, haunted soup is gazpacho?
Yes.
I mean, that makes sense, I guess.
I kind of want some soup now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of cold. So the next information was kind of hard for me to figure out. There was a lot of conflicting things written about the hospital. So one of the things people say is that at some point after the tuberculosis hospital closed, the main hospital building was demolished. But they left a building that had been used for administration and housing nurses, which is the original college's Tenney Hall.
Oh, okay.
So now the conflict is that people say this building, the Tenney Hall, was the actual hospital. I'm leaning towards that the building was used for like administration in the nurse housing. There's a photo of the building that we're talking about, the Tenney Hall, next to like a really big hospital looking building. So
that tracks.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that makes sense to me. Like, why would they have this giant building over here, but have like the hospital in the smaller building?
Right. Well, and here's the thing. It would make more sense in my mind, just like thinking about tracking it logically. Wouldn't you demolish the building where all of the infectious disease patients were as opposed to like an administrative building?
That's another thing I was thinking too. And it's really weird. So I was looking for this photo. I had found a photo. I don't know why I didn't save it, of someone on a Facebook comment was saying like, hey, I've lived here my whole life. This is not the actual hospital. This is my grandparents had like a photo of it from back in the day, and it showed it, and I can't fucking find it again. So I'm going to dig deeper.
Look in your browser history.
It was a long time ago. I don't know how to find it that far back. I guess I probably could. I just need to dig for it. But it was in like a Facebook comment. So I would have to go back through whatever comments I was looking on. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah.
I was looking for it just in general on the internet, and I couldn't find really any old photos of it. So I will dig some more. I will find it. I know I will. I'll find it.
You will find it.
I'm not making this up, I swear. But even if like the original hospital isn't there anymore, even if these things didn't occur in this building, the energy on the property is still probably going to be there, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it might not manifest in an empty field where nothing is at. It might manifest wherever people are, wherever all the energy is that it can suck.
I think so. Yeah.
So I think it's still logical to say that stuff does occur in this building, even though it wasn't actually the hospital. Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think that sounds like a reasonable set of conclusions to draw.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try to be reasonable, even though I'm talking about ghosts. So it wasn't until 2004 that the building became alive again as a B&B called the Get In Bed and Breakfast. Love that. Get in.
Get in.
It was already well known as a haunted location, so this B&B took advantage of that and sort of like owned it. They obviously welcomed paranormal investigators to come check out the building.
As you do.
Yes. And I love this. Like, if you're a business and you think your place is haunted, just embrace it, because people will come and see the ghosts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not Caitlin, but I will come. I literally wrote that in my notes and forgot about it. I said, people love that shit, man. Well, maybe not Caitlin. It sounds like the overwhelming consensus from every team who's investigated here is like, yep, this place is haunted as fuck. So this Airbnb actually, it says, I found more conflicting information. So it either closed and then got new owners, or it's the same owners and they just changed the name. So either way, now it is Gooding University Inn and Resort. And they have done some events where you can stay overnight there and ghost hunt.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you like the two separate reactions there?
That's pretty typical of this show.
Yeah. There is a team that runs the event, Ghost Hunts USA. You can find them at ghosthuntsusa.com.
Ooh.
They actually do these at like several different haunted locations where you can like stay the night.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how often they do these at this location anymore, but it looks like they did them as recently as this year, from August to October, from what their website said. So yeah, I was like, we should take a trip up there like next year and just stay the night. There were tickets you can buy where you can stay until 4 a.m. But there were also tickets where you can sleep, in air quotes. You could sleep over. One of the parts of the event's description on the brown paper ticket website, which is where you purchase the tickets for the event, I guess. Oh. Quote, please be aware that if you decide to book the accommodation ticket where you theoretically sleep there at night, we may use your room as one of the areas to conduct vigils.
No.
Okay. Not sleeping.
I will not be signing that waiver. Get out of my room.
Get out. So at these events, they usually have a medium. They do seances and vigils. in your room that you sleep in. And then this experienced paranormal team investigate with you. They help you out. They let you use their equipment. So they kind of guide you along the way. Yeah. So if you're not like a professional investigator, you can still go and like pretend for the night. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's just so cool. It's such a great idea because so many people, myself included, will love to ghost hunt, but I just like don't have the equipment or like know what to do. So
I feel like, you know, things keep going well. People, you know, get on there and subscribe to the Patreon. I don't know, maybe we get our own, you know, EVP detecting equipment or something.
What was that? The ghost investigating equipment, ghost finding technology.
Yeah.
That's what it was. From the Piddock Mansion.
Honestly, I feel like I need that just for this apartment, let alone places that we go.
I'll get you a proton pack.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So also, this is like a safe space to do it. Like the owners know you're there. You're not just in like an abandoned building, like pretending to ghost hunt. Like, you know what you're doing. Like,
right.
Obviously, I'm talking about like normal civilians, not like actual ghost investigators. They obviously know what they're doing. When they do these events too, I thought it was really cool. They provide unlimited refreshments.
Ooh.
Yes. And I know if we ever brought Caitlin to one of these, I know where she would be at the whole time. I need more refreshments. Let's go back to the refreshments.
Yeah. I'm feeling unrefreshed.
I need more coffee.
I need snack.
I'll just be it here at the snack table. You guys have fun.
Yeah. My EVP is too high and my blood sugar is too low.
Your EVP is too high. I like that. So let's get into like some of the reports of things that happen in the old tuberculosis hospital.
Yikes!
There have been reports of banging doors, not doors that are fucking each other. They're just like slamming around.
Oh my God.
There have been knocks, whistles, items being moved, shadow figures, full body apparitions, feeling like someone is always around you, voices in supposedly empty rooms. You're like, no. People also see the ghost of an old man in a white coat. I don't know, like a white coat seems doctory to me. Yeah.
He's a doctor.
And I don't think the doctor we mentioned, I don't think he's hanging around there. He died actually at a pretty early age, very sadly. So I don't think he would be hanging around out there. But maybe there was like another doctor who like,
it's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's like a patient who is in like a white,
like maybe the gowns were white.
But I feel like you could distinguish a coat from a gown.
Yeah, they're very different.
Yeah.
One opens in the front and one opens in the back.
Maybe he's wearing it backwards.
Oh, no.
That's a possibility. A woman is also seen with a younger girl, which is kind of interesting. Like, I don't... Yeah. Whispering footsteps are heard walking down deserted hallways. A lot of activity in the attic as well. And we'll get there.
Nothing good is in the attic.
Really, nothing good is up there in that attic.
Oh, God.
So there was a ghost hanging group, I wrote. There was a ghost hunting group that experienced a little girl singing along with them. Like they were singing, I think it was like that Sunshine one. You Are My Sunshine?
Oh.
And she like, someone stopped singing and she like kept singing on with it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they caught that EVP.
What did I say?
Yeah. There was a ghost investigating group called WIP, Western Idaho Paranormal, and they caught a bunch of EVPs. They have a website and you can go and they have a bunch of EVPs that they had caught there. They have photos, they have some videos. I didn't see anything on the videos. They don't really explain what you're supposed to be looking at, so I wasn't sure with those videos.
Sometimes that's helpful because sometimes it can seem like something innocuous, and then once you know what you're looking at.
Yeah. There was one where like the light was kind of flickering-ish, but that was like the only one I could really tell what was happening in the video.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know.
I don't know. But they did catch some really good EVPs. Some laughter, voices screaming, and one of a child's voice saying, "Bye, Dada."
No.
Bye, Dada.
No, bye, ghost.
Bye.
Bye.
There is a Facebook page called Stephanie's Tarot Readings, and they did like a little tour video there.
What?
She was there. She was saying she was going to do a live investigation. I couldn't find her live investigation. Yeah, I don't know. I tried to
she
look
was like,
for
it was live, and it was a paid live stream.
Maybe that's why, because it was like a live. But she did a little tour, and she has that video on there. On her tour, she was one of the ones giving the information like that this building was like the main hospital. She's not the only one, but just to say
I mean, we've already talked about that. That idea is out there, and maybe in the presence of conflicting information, some people just feel differently than we do about that issue.
She's certainly not the only one. So on this tour, she was saying that they used to keep children with tuberculosis in the attic and quarantine up in the building. So that it doesn't make a lot of sense to me why they would do that, especially if it wasn't the main hospital. Like, why would they be up in the attic? Like, they have a whole hospital of TB patients, so like, why are children different?
Well, okay, so it's very possible that, like, as is the case with a number of other infectious diseases, someone who's younger and healthier, they might have a better chance of survival. So maybe they isolated them. They're really trying to quarantine them away from the other sicker patients.
Maybe.
I don't know. Part of me kind of thinks, I don't know.
If the nurses were living there, I don't know.
I feel like overnight, really young TB patients, like they might have needed them to be in the attic so they could hear if somebody was like crying or...
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that one, honestly. And there's more. So it's weird. And I didn't read anything to like back that up either. So it's weird though that there was like on the tour, there's like a chicken coop up in the attic. And I'm like, why is there a freaking chicken coop up there? Like, was it there before, like with all the children? Was it like just full of chickens and like there was children up there? I don't know. I don't know why there would be a chicken coop up there.
This is very confusing. That's okay.
Unless maybe it's not a chicken coop, but it certainly looks like one.
I got nothing on that.
Yeah, I don't know. She also says in the basement is where they had the morgue and a surgery room. And she was getting like really strong negative vibes down there, which again, I don't know why the morgue and surgery rooms would be down there.
Yeah, I mean, if that really wasn't part of the main hospital, that wouldn't probably make a ton of sense. But obviously her tour is based on the idea that was the main hospital. So.
And I don't know where she was getting her information from either. She didn't say.
Interesting.
So go check that out. It's pretty cool to like see the tour of the place anyway. Like it's cool to see those things. Of course, Ghost Adventurers did an episode there. And the owner was actually on there, and she said she saw an apparition of an extremely angry older gentleman in one of the rooms. Oof. She saw him actually through a bathroom mirror, and she turned around and he wasn't there. So she like left the room to go take a breath. gather herself.
Wait, okay, so she saw him when she was looking at her reflection in a mirror.
She saw him behind her.
No.
Like, not directly, but like further
No.
on in the room.
I don't like that.
Super creepy. And that's like one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she left the room, probably trying to like convince herself that she didn't really see that, like, gathering the courage
as you do
to go back. So she goes back in the room.
No, but you don't do that. You don't do that. Oh my God.
But I'm assuming she had to clean it or something, maybe, because she's the owner. So she had to. So she goes back and he's in there again. No. And she just said it was so angry and she was just terrified. She actually broke down like during the interview because she was so scared of this man. And then this poor woman, the owner, she had 2 children pass away, and one of them actually on the property.
What?
Yeah, they have like a lot of kids, like 12 kids or something, I think they said in the episode. They have like special needs.
Oh my gosh.
So they didn't say exactly like how or why these children passed away. I'm assuming it might be from complications due to their special needs. I'm not 100% sure. It's very, very sad.
Yeah. I mean, she's obviously already talking about that experience, which was pretty, like, it sounded like it was traumatic for her. And then talking about the death of 2 of your children. I can see why they weren't like, how'd he die?
I know. Yeah.
'Cause that's
I wouldn't.
rough.
I would never.
Yeah. No. And that's, it's probably not an appropriate thing to ask.
No. So kind of like we talked about in the last episode you did.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
Weird.
No, I mean, there are certain situations where, like, there's an appropriate time, place, and person for certain questions, and that wasn't one of them.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked that Zach Baggins didn't ask her. you know? Because he's not very, like, subtle.
No.
So, completely heartbreaking. It was just so sad. So when Zach was doing his initial tour of the place before they started the investigation, he actually tried to open a door to one of the rooms, but something like stopped him. Like he opened it a little bit and then something stopped the door. And he like looked and nothing was back there. So they
Okay.
You're like
maybe just like, I don't know, like pick a different room, Zach. Like it doesn't want you there.
Absolutely not. He jumps full in. So they took out the SLS camera, if you guys remember from the Lily Doll episode, where it like shows kind of like a stick figure if it catches like a
apparition or ghost.
Yeah, like if it senses a body, it will make it look like a stick figure.
No, I don't like it.
So they actually captured a figure like on the door. Like it was like behind the door. Maybe in front of the door. It was like at the door. So that was pretty interesting. And then they take out their recorder and they catch a creepy ass EVP. No. Like this is before even the investigation gets started. So yeah, pretty creepy. So
I feel like we might just have to start videoing your whole cases.
I think we should just put the video on you, just on your face.
Yeah, seriously, like a reaction video. It's kind of like those TikToks where it's like blind react.
Yes.
God. Continue.
So take a deep breath. During the investigation, they saw shadows moving around. They heard strange, unexplainable sounds and voices. And usually when people catch EVPs, they're usually like a word or like a couple words.
Yeah.
They caught one that just like went on and on and on. It was like talking and talking and talking. It was like
Chatty
a real
Cathy.
That's what I wrote, a chatty Cathy. But it was a male voice, so it was like a chatty chat or something.
Oh, I like that. Chatty Chad.
It even started screaming at them at one point.
Mm-mm.
And then right after,
we have to go.
Yeah, they should have gone because Aaron started having a freaking coughing fit. A coughing fit.
Okay.
Tuberculosis.
So this is a place that you would want to go to there?
Oh my gosh, yes. No hesitation.
Oh my God. It's so automatic for you. And I'm like, how much are we getting paid?
Nothing. At one point, they even hear a child laugh, and they were using this thing. Oh, shit.
You know how I
Didn't
feel
write it
about
down.
child laughter.
I know. It was creepy. Okay, so on the show, they used this device, and it's called an ovulus. Ovilus, ovulus.
Oh.
And their website says it's basically a speak and spell for ghosts. So the device contains a database of words and symbols, and after like a question is asked, changes in the temperature or magnetic field caused by the spirits can draw an auditory response from the device. And so it'll like pop up a word. Is how this thing works. Yeah. So when you ask it a question, and it's really weird because you'll ask it something and it'll respond with a word that like makes sense with what you're asking. Yeah. It's not just like a random, well, sometimes I'm sure it can be random, but yeah. So that's how that device works.
Ooh.
So it ends up showing when Zach goes in this room with this device, it shows the word geek on it. And it's really funny because he's wearing like these hipster glasses.
Oh my God.
So he's like, oh my God, this ghost is calling me a geek. And then they asked the spirit if it had a favorite animal. And the word that it popped up like immediately was wolf.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it literally like answered the question. Isn't that crazy?
Okay, I want this.
So they were like hearing stuff moving all around and like kids' toys going off, and like from the answers they got on this little thing, and like they were hearing like little kids' laughter. They were thinking like this is like a little kid like interacting with them, which is so weird to me because I was thinking like tuberculosis hospital, we're going to get all of these like older adult like patients who are like sickly, but it seems like the most activity is from like children.
So maybe that building really did have all of the patients that were like children
It's
up
really
in the
weird.
attic.
Yeah. Or like, I don't know if it was this woman's children maybe coming back because they're there. She's there, you know.
Oh,
her and her husband with all of the other
Maybe.
kids are there. Maybe like that's just where they feel comfortable. They didn't really come to any conclusions on, you know, who was haunting the place, but
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting that they were getting a lot of kid activity. Everyone should go watch the episode because it's kind of cool. I didn't cover everything that happened in the episode. So go watch it. I'll link it for you.
We've got another promo roll that we are really excited to share today.
Can't get enough true crime? I feel like everybody has one of those cases. It may even be what really got me into true crime. Do you love the paranormal?
I guess clearly he's making a list and checking it twice. He's gonna find out if your soul tastes nice.
Then come join Blood, Guts, and Booze. I feel like this case is pretty well known, but a lot of people don't realize just how twisted this case really is. Every Sunday,
They started feeling really bad for her spirit, right? Her little ghosty. So they decided to invite her into their house permanently.
nope. As we talk about your worst nightmares and things that go bump in the night.
You guys, we're back.
Hi. I do have one last thing to show Caitlin. It is, you need to be really strong here.
Okay.
Because it's like one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
No. It's scary to you?
Yeah, it's really scary. So I'm going to show this to you. Just be brave. Just be very brave. Okay?
We need you to come out of there and show them what I saw. Look, sorry, you scared us. You might be a good energy. Sorry. It's me. Sorry.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Why do you gotta sneeze?
All right.
Are you okay? Did you
yeah.
survive?
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that the mic picked up, but it was literally just Zach being terrified by, I think it was Aaron sneezing, and
I think that has to be a part of your post about the episode.
it can be.
Yeah. So that people know I'm bracing myself for like some sort of real paranormal. Okay. This is fine. Everything's fine. Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm not that mean.
Let's talk about the tarot, shall we?
Yeah. So, what did it say?
I don't
It
know.
was the word I picked up on. I remember you saying it said something about health.
Oh, I think
Which
you're
is
right. Okay.
Interesting.
This is interesting though, because I feel like TB isn't linked to any sort of like overindulgence. It's not like it's gout.
Yeah.
Gout, the king's disease. So in the upright position, it says, if you're caught up in self-indulgence or vice, it's time to rein it in and regain control. Don't gamble with your health and happiness. Remember that instant gratification isn't satisfying in the long term, so come up with a lasting plan for success. So I don't know, maybe that's a message for the ghosts. Like, think about your afterlife, bro.
Yeah. Can we do a quick goog on the double
Yeah.
card? I know we're getting
No, we're good. We'll be fine. Okay, so here's one. It represents being seduced by the material world and physical pleasures, also living in fear, domination, and bondage.
Oh,
Being-
gosh.
Cassie,
Uh-oh, I don't want to know. What are you about to say? Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, okay.
being caged.
Chicken coop.
Okay, but listen to this, though. It's being caged by an overabundance of luxury. Discretion should be used in personal and business matters. Okay. Here's another. So in the upright position, devil keywords: shadow self, attachment, addiction, restriction, and sexuality. Okay. The devil card represents your shadow or darker side and the negative forces that constrain you and hold you back from being the best version of yourself.
Okay. Maybe that's talking about the disease. Like,
I feel like maybe. I mean, I don't think that TB has anything to do with overindulgence, but
no.
I think that maybe there are just some situations where it's like you can't perfectly match like every aspect of like the interpretations, and every like source that you look at is going to have a slightly different interpretation. But the devil card often appears when you have been tricked into thinking you have no control over your shadow self or these negative forces, and that you can never break free from their hold. Yeah, this card is definitely like, there's a lot of like sexual overtones related to this card. So that's interesting. I don't know.
Like, the only like sexual element to the case was Dr. Hart, but like I feel like this doesn't apply to his.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so hear this part.
Okay.
The devil can also represent sexuality and potentially your wild side. So exploring basically like, I mean, this is all definitely sexual in the in nature. This particular interpretation isn't necessarily geared towards gender, But what it goes on to say is if you can do this within a safe, sacred space, it can be a very enriching experience.
Huh.
So I don't know. I feel like maybe it could have some sort of like it's picking up on like bits and pieces, and maybe there's certain aspects of like this case that we don't really even know about or
What are you
fully
trying to
understand.
tell us?
Yeah. This is interesting because I feel like it's like there's little like tidbits that like I want to be able to place them, but it's like we're kind of guessing at connecting the dots in some respects.
And I'm not like, usually I kind of like feel like how a card would connect.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the only thing I feel like it connects with. Like I'm struggling here.
This is interesting. I don't know. All right. Well, I definitely think that we're going to keep up on the cleansing of the deck, but I think, this is interesting. This interpretation says something about like quitting smoking, which is interesting when you're talking about a case that involves like TB patients and like a disease of the lungs. But
yeah.
All right. Well,
interesting.
I'm not looking for any more interpretations. This is what we have is what we have. This is definitely an interesting one. I feel like it's trying to tell us something that we can't quite grasp.
If you guys are getting something that we're missing, maybe we're like too close to it. Maybe like when I listen back, maybe I'll get something. But yeah, if you guys feel something about it, let us know.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
What vibes you get?
Yeah. Oof.
All right. So we actually got in contact with someone who grew up in Gooding, Idaho. Her name is Cheyenne. Hi, Cheyenne.
Hello.
She's going to tell us a bunch of stories that she has about the tuberculosis hospital, and we are super excited about it.
Some of us are anxious.
I know. I already scared her with the whole episode, and then now she's got more. Okay. Yeah. Whenever you're ready, just let us know where you want to start.
Yeah. So I kind of just jotted down a few things. Like I was trying to like, kind of put them in like how I remembered them. Some of these are stories that I've heard from people I grew up with.
Ooh, awesome.
Some of our local law enforcement.
Oh my gosh.
And stuff like that. And I actually have a couple other correlating stories because Gooding is old. I mean, Southern Idaho is just kind of a, it's an old town. I mean, like the old theater, there's supposedly tunnels that you can get in through this old theater that's over 100 years old and like go underneath Gooding. Like,
oh my
gosh, so much history.
Has these
Tunnels.
Yeah, I know. And like I was telling my husband, because we were discussing this last night, I'm like, I have this like bucket list of like things I want to sneak into before I die, and these tunnels under Gooding are one of them.
That is the best bucket list ever.
I'm like, what can I break into? And it wouldn't technically be illegal. But yeah. No, so Gooding's just this like super cool old town, it's kind of like this forgotten little area because the freeway got put in at one point, and so all these major hubs just kind of got forgotten about, when the trains really stopped running passengers and all this stuff. And so it's really a cool old town. My great grandma actually moved there in 1974, which is what sparked the rest of my family to kind of slowly move up from Southern California. Nice. And so my mom moved us up there in March of 94. So I was 5 months old and just kind of stayed there ever since. Like I don't see myself ever leaving this area because it's home now.
Yeah. Homey.
Yes. I'd home. I actually met my husband here. His family's been here for like 4 generations, so, we're very established here now. And so yeah, Gooding's old. I love it. My best friends actually still live there, so I spend a lot of time in Gooding. It's a 20-minute drive from where I live now. So the hospital. Most people that are interested in know it was built in like 1917, so it's over 100 years old, and it is this massive monument. So when you first go into Gooding, so from like the direction that I have to come from to get into Gooding, it is like the first thing you see.
Oh,
it's this massive monument of a building. Like, so we've got the new hospital that sits kind of near it. You've got the Gooding Historical Society Museum, a huge gas station. Um, like you see a few of these things when you first pull in, but the TB hospital is the first thing you see. It is just huge, and it's actually kind of cool because it's kind of like a pinnacle. Like you've got one highway that runs this way and another highway that runs this way. So it's really like either way you come into Gooding, that's the first thing you're gonna see.
Oh, that's awesome. And like the photos probably just don't do it justice.
They don't. It's beautiful. Like the
Oh.
building itself is just absolutely beautiful. And like I have my fingers crossed because there's been a lot of older buildings around Southern Idaho that people are like, oh, you know what? We don't need those anymore. We're just going to demolish them. And I'm a history nerd and I love the history behind a lot of these old towns. And so, it's devastating when you see a lot of these buildings go. So for the fact that people have turned this into like, it's gone from a college to a hospital to bed and breakfasts now.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm like, fingers crossed
about that.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Yes, keep it going, everybody. Go visit.
Yes. And that's one thing I was really excited actually about Zach and the crew to go, because it's like, yes, let's get it some more, like keep it on the historical records. Let's keep it maintained. And, because like there's a couple of really old schools over here in Jerome that are gone now because they're just like, we don't need them anymore. And
I hate that.
Another really cool thing that kind of I think ties in with a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the hospitals, we're a huge hotbed for geothermal energy. Ooh. There's a lot of volcanic, hot springs. We're this part of Idaho is really famous for the hot springs. We actually have an area called the Thousand Springs because it just gushes out of the canyon.
Okay, we're going.
I've heard of that.
We're going.
Yeah. Actually got married with my backdrop being the Thousand Springs. It was really cool. Loved it.
Gorgeous.
So yeah, there's a lot of really cool, little things that you think probably add into the background of this area, or like the weird stuff that goes on.
Yeah.
So a couple of these stories that I'm going to bring up, keep in mind they were told to me, so I am relaying what was told to me, but it's just enough that like they've stuck with me. One of them being one of our former law enforcement officers, super cool old guy. He's been around Gooding forever. His family's Basque. We have a large Basque community here. And so a lot of these families that have been here since the start of Gooding.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that's the other thing that sits right near the hospital is the Basque Cultural Center.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so, like I said, just a ton of the history, like sheep herders, that kind of stuff. But
nice. There's a bunch more stuff now that I got to look up.
Yeah.
It is really interesting, kind of the melting pot that Gooding, Boise, Wendell, like those areas really are. And so yeah, this gentleman, like I've known him for a long time. He wouldn't patrol. If he had night patrol, he would drive by it and that was it. Like he would not go near it. And one of the other I know, right? Like I'm not a chicken, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like I definitely have like somewhere else, not the TB hospital. But some friends and I, this old house, I mean, super, super old. It was moved off of its foundation into another location and was being restored. We totally snuck in there on Halloween. Not gonna give it off your bucket list. Yeah. But yeah, he wouldn't even like he always said like he's like, I wouldn't make eye contact with it. I'd check it, drive.
I don't want to see anything.
And then so this other story that's really interesting actually kind of ties in with him too, which is another friend of mine, my friend's ex-husband, that told me this story. This was and he's quite a bit older than I am, but this was probably like the 80s, early 90s. Him and his buddies would sneak in there, and he actually said one time that they were down in the basement, and because that's one of the easiest accesses into the building is the basement access. Yeah. And which I've been in the basement, super creepy. A lot of storage, which is really funny that storage rooms are like the creepy rooms.
Yeah. A lot of places to hide.
Yes. So this friend, he and his buddies were like, just being dumb teenagers at the time. nothing else to do in Gooding. I mean, at that point, like it was still, we just barely got a McDonald's and a stoplight in the last 15 years. So, but they snuck in, and he said that, like yes, it's a drafty old building, but as they were like walking through and just being dumb and everything, like this coat just like picked up off the ground. And he said, they all hid because they saw this former law enforcement officer who was current at the time pull in and like shine a spotlight because they got word of like kids breaking and entering, being dumb. Oh, no. And like, so it was just kind of this like sequence of events. This like coat apparently lifted up off the ground and stuff started moving. And here comes the cop with the spotlight. And they said they bailed, never went back. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't blame you. Like,
yeah.
Like, I did not want to see articles of clothing flying at me without anybody else in them.
Was it cold that night? Maybe they were just trying to help. Like, here's a jacket.
It's chilly. You live in Idaho.
Yeah.
Like our winters get below negative. No. Yeah. So that was one of his stories. And I actually reached out to him in the last couple of days, seeing if he could like give me a little bit more. And he's been super busy.
Oh yeah, that's fine. He can always email us too, or you can email us later. We want them whenever.
Yeah. He's also a little bit older, so he's probably like, what is this technology? I have to give him crap.
Send us a letter.
Morse code. At the end, if you want me to, I actually have a few more stories. The town just a little bit to the east. East. I have to think. What's my directions here? West. Sorry, west.
I wouldn't have known. Yeah.
I'm like, I can tell you how to get there. Don't ask me which direction it is.
You could have said any direction, and we would have been like, "Yep,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's actually some really cool stuff about that area as well. It's literally another 10-minute drive off in the other direction down the highway that I lived in for a long time as well. Another story that I have is we had some family that came down because, like I said, my great grandma moved here in 1974, built her life there, and passed away a couple years ago. But Gooding was her home, like she loved the area. But we had some family that came and stayed in Gooding. There's not many places to stay. My grandmother's house was only so big, and so not everybody could stay with her. So some of my cousins rented rooms. At that time, it was the Get In.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so
My name gets me.
Get in. They actually rented some rooms there. And the one cousin, he said that he woke up with just this weird feeling. He was like laying there and like looked up at the foot of his bed, and there was just this figure standing at the foot of his bed. And this cousin of mine he's a huge skeptic, just doesn't believe in the possibility of more kind of thing. But yeah, so just it's really interesting hearing him and the rest of the cousins talk about this experience that he had. Has literally like woke up in the middle of the night and just like looked down at the foot of his bed, and there's just this thing standing there, and he checked out the next morning and never went back.
Oh my god.
Just super dark, super heavy, just wanted nothing to do with it.
I'm out.
Yeah. And it's always the skeptics when they kind of have, even if it seems pretty benign, it's when they have an experience that it really, it convinces you.
Absolutely. And, and I'm just like, if something was staring at me in the middle of the night, you'd bet I'd probably leave in that moment. I wouldn't even stick around.
Leave the state.
I'm like, here's my key. I'm gone. Like,
not, hey, how you doing? What's up?
No, there is zero chance of me sticking around to ask questions about something. That was one that like really, I mean, like I grew up with it always being there. So it wasn't one of those things. I mean, like I appreciated it because like, this is this old town with a lot of these beautiful historic, like we have 2 other bed and breakfasts in Gooding that are just notoriously like old. And weird stuff happened in them. And so, that was one of the things that I was like, oh, there's like something to this kind of thing. So yeah, that was one that was like hearing him talk about how just this darkness that was like standing at the foot of his bed. I was just like,
clasping my pearls.
Right?
You're gonna have nightmares.
Yeah.
Another one of my personal experiences, I was going to a youth group there in Gooding. And for whatever reason, we did this like youth group field trip to the hospital this one Wednesday. I don't know. It was just kind of out of the blue. Like I showed up like, hey, get in the bus, get in the van. We're going to the the TB hospital. It's like, cool, let's go.
That's awesome.
You know. And so we were given like this kind of basic tour of the place. And like I'd already kind of been in there at a couple points, like not anything in depth, but they did like a haunted mansion kind of thing one Halloween. And so, you know, been in and out. I know there's like multiple floors, there's basement, you know, floors and stuff. For this field trip, they're like, hey, we're going, you know, load up, let's go. And so we show up and they're kind of giving us the tour of the grounds and everything. And they're like, okay, you're not allowed to go in the basement. You guys have floors. And I'm like, what is the basement? No. We're going to do a game room, you guys. No. And so I remember like walking in and for one, just being in awe because the architecture is just beautiful. You know, it's that like early 1900s, like beautiful original hardwood floors, you know, like I'm weird and I notice these things.
I think that's normal.
Yeah.
It's the craftsmanship.
I mean,
yeah.
right? I'm like 15-year-old me, it's like, wow. That supporting wall is beautiful.
It's a work of art.
It really is though, like, you know, like the crown molding, like the building is just like awe-inspiring. It really is. When I say that it's huge, like you walk up and you're just like, just this huge expanse of a building in front of you. And at that point, like I still didn't know like a lot of the history behind it. Like, and this is gonna sound kind of funny, but we still had like dial-up internet back then.
Yeah.
And,
Remember when?
I didn't have the wonder of and so like at that point, like I said, like I didn't have a whole lot of knowledge about the history behind it, but I, you know, it was just cool. So yeah, like they give us this tour and everything and they take us up into the attic. And this is an unfinished attic. You know, there's not like any rooms. There's not, you know, it's a lot of like support beams
That's
and
weird.
that kind of stuff, you know? Yeah. So I'm like, you know, this is cool, fine, whatever. And I remember just like, there's one of the north facing windows and we have one of the most beautiful views in Gooding because there's just mountains, like it's a valley. And so there's just mountains and sky, you know? And I just remember looking out the window and all of a sudden just feeling like something was just like pressing down on top of my head. Like just this heavy, like, and I will say it now, I completely associate it with something dark and evil. Just this heavy, evil feeling. And I'm like, I'm here for this youth group field trip. And there's just this like negative, like my chest felt tight and heavy. And 100% just not a good feeling. Like I just remember looking out this window and then just like blinking. Like
you passed out?
Not like passed out. Like I remember like still looking out the window, but like just nothing registering.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. I wonder if you were kind of like stepping into
You're like in a
someone's
trance.
energy who used to be there and like that's all they had to do was like look out the window, you know? Like, oh
yeah. And still to this day, I just remember being like, oh, like that's weird. But I've had like a few like personal experiences with stuff that haven't been good. And so that's one of them that just totally like kind of shook me to my core. Like, and I don't talk about it a lot. Like, it's kind of one of those like people are like, okay, yeah, right. And it's like, no, like something like,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like this was like something not good. And I've dealt with like, I totally had like a negative attachment for a long time. After I was like 19. And so like, I know what I was feeling and it wasn't like anxiety or this was like something pressing. Like I felt like I was in a vice grip.
Do you think it was something trying to like take you over or something almost?
You know, I don't know because I would say possibly because it was just, it was terrifying. Like it was something that like nightmare inducing creepy, just this like dread, existential dread is what I would probably classify it as. And just like this like panic attack, like claustrophobia, like you couldn't get out of it. And so like when we left, I was happy. Yeah, but I still love the building. It's really weird because like, I'm still like, you know what? I'm going to rent a room there one night and just see what happens.
Oh my God.
So brave.
Not that brave.
You haven't done it yet.
No, haven't done it
Working
yet.
up to it.
Definitely been in there. I've definitely been in there a few more times. Nothing quite as crazy as that, but that was it was really interesting, and I just don't have an explanation for it. Like, it was just insane. Like, here I am, like, looking out of this window at this beautiful view that we have, like, and just like zoning. And it's not like a dissociation, like just like an ADHD dissociation. It was like literally
She would
Hello.
know. She would
Yeah.
know.
I was gonna,
I have
it's very
ADHD.
different though. It's very different because I would say a lot of times, and it's probably different for everyone, but I would say sometimes it feels like just a general fogginess with ADHD. And it sounds like what you felt
Yeah.
was like
Yeah.
just such a powerful pull, not just like my brain
Yeah.
is kind of half speed. Like, you were
Correct.
full speed on the brain, but like just weren't really there
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, it was seriously, and it was, yeah, because like I have ADHD, like hardcore, and I like dissociate so well. So yeah, it was definitely not anything that I'd experienced quite to that degree, and so it was really interesting to experience that. It was one of those things that like followed me home,
That's
but it was just
Thank
in that
God.
moment, like, yeah, definitely dealt with that kind of scenario in the future. From that point, had dealt with some stuff, and thank God at that point I hadn't.
Aw.
That's too
You know.
young.
Yeah.
Well, it's just crazy. Yeah, like it was just one of those things that like I said, I don't talk about it a whole lot. Just kind of the family goes, haha, okay, yeah, all right. You've been reading too many scary
No.
books. No, I dealt with
Yeah.
something freaky. I'll tell you that. I'm a drama queen, but
Yeah.
not that much. Yeah, no, it was just one of those. It was so weird. Like, I don't have words for it. Like, I just keep trying to, like, even when I was telling my husband about it last night, and even then I was just like, I don't have a way to explain it other than like it just blinked. Like, I could still remember like looking out the window and then just nothing. Like, but I was still upright, didn't pass out. Like, I don't know, it was weird.
That is so crazy.
Not anything I want to go
Wow.
through.
And it
ever
never
again.
happened again?
No. It was kind of like, yeah, and that's one of those things. It's like, if like something happens multiple times, they talk about like, gosh, drawing such a blank. But when like the electrical, if there's like exposed
Oh, like
wiring,
the
that kind of
EMF?
stuff, like
EMF? Yeah.
yeah, like yeah, where it like affects your well-being, basically, like it triggers the anxious response, that kind of thing. So yeah, that was I don't have a way to debunk it, it was just dark, brooding, evil feeling, just sucked. But it was also an interesting experience that I'm not sorry that I experienced either, because it's like,
Then you get to talk about it, and maybe like other people have had it
Mhm.
happen and they don't know what's going on. And then this other person
Yeah.
has the same experience and like, oh, okay, I'm not alone.
Exactly. And then different cousins, but I had some other cousins that came into town, and they were always wanting to go in there. And so one day I'm like, you know what, why don't we just go knock on the front door, say, hey, we would like to see this place. Because at that point it wasn't really open for business again. It was I think it was the transition from the get in to what it is now. We went and knocked on the door. We were like, hey, we just want to, take a look around, see what this is all about. These people, my cousins, we're going to be here for very long. So it's not like they could like wait until they open their doors kind of thing. And so they're like, yeah, come look around. Just sweet people that own it, and great family. And they just let us kind of come in, walk around. They have a lot of kids. And so it was just, it livened it up. Like they were doing a lot of renovations, and it was just kind of nice. Like they brought some life back into the place. Because for a long time, if I remember right, when it was still to get in, they had lots of the wings like shut down because they weren't able to like get them reopened, renovated, remodeled.
Yeah, a
all
lot
that
of
kind
money
stuff.
and work and time. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Can you even imagine? I can't remember how many rooms are in there, but I'm just like, how can you afford this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, it is just an extraordinary place. And like if you two ever get a chance to, like come see it, like you will literally walk up to it and just be like, holy cow. So do you have any questions for me?
I do have a question. So there was kind of some conflicting information on the building itself. What I've kind of found out is that the building that's left, they say, was like the administrative part of the hospital and not the actual hospital, like where sick people were. There was like another like attached bigger hospital building. And I
So I've heard.
no, I
Oh,
was
go
just
ahead,
kind of
finish.
confused on that because I was like, there wasn't like a definitive thing that
Yeah.
said one way or another. So
Right. So it's crazy. I've actually heard the same thing, but I've also heard that there was patients
yeah, that's
that
what
in the
I've
building.
do.
And so, I'm not sure. That's something I would gladly do. I will do some digging on. Like I said, I go to Gooding quite a bit because my best friends, who also have chitlins, live over there. I'm over there all the time. And so maybe one of these days, after our roads get better, because we've had like snowmageddon,
Yeah.
I know. But yes, I will do some digging. I'll write that down because I would love to. I've heard that too, and it's
Yeah.
really funny they mentioned that because I kind of forgot about that.
But we were like, no matter what building is left, it's still on the property. So like all of
Yeah.
that energy is still
Yeah.
going to be around, no matter like if that was the actual building or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other thing is too, like the new hospital sits not even a quarter of a mile away from it. Like it's all in the same like little section of
wow.
land there. And so, my brain, my mind goes to, there's always going to be a little bit of that skeptic left inside, which I think is healthy.
Yeah.
But whatever is here, is it residual? Is it, that kind of thing? And with everything, because, it's a hospital, there's trauma, there's going to be all these
Yeah.
different things that happen there.
At any hospital.
And so
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
exactly. And so like with this actual like functioning hospital being here, what is triggering
That is
everything to happen?
true. Yeah.
I wonder about that all the time, And the cemeteries, we have two cemeteries in Gooding, the Pioneer Cemetery and then the Elmwood Cemetery. And so they, as the crow flies, are like a quarter of a mile away from it.
Oh, wow.
To get
Yeah.
to them, you have to kind of take a little loop. And the Pioneer Cemetery, the graves go back into the 1800s.
So
And then the newer cemetery where it's in functioning use today are newer. It's a lot of the newer like 40s, 30s, 40s, that kind of thing. But that's not very far from it
wow.
either.
So there's all of these things right in like one area. It's like
Yeah. Like it all converges kind of in this little oof.
Yes.
energy soup.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it's just, and it's really funny because we have a lot of booming population around here, like Twin Falls and Jerome. They're just growing and expanding. And Gooding is just kind of staying Gooding,
yeah.
which I appreciate. Like I've actually been trying to convince my husband, can we please move out there? Like I spent my childhood, the best years of my life there, I recently it's 5 years in March that I lost my grandma. My grandpa died 4 years almost to the day of my grandma dying, and then my great grandma as well. So the three people that like, aside from my mom, that I had in my life, like they all, lived and died in Gooding. Best years of my life legitimately were spent in that town, aside from now, of course, like my husband and my daughter. But like, I'm like, I love the small town feel. We literally like, there's like 2 grocery stores, a couple gas stations, a few churches, like older, like the old buildings, the ones that have been there forever, like a couple banks, and then a Maverick, which is a gas station. I don't know if you guys have a Maverick because it's kind of located on this side of, but we have a Maverick, a Valley Co-op, which is another gas station. It's a farm store, and a McDonald's and a traffic light. Like that is it. You have like one traffic light. And it was the biggest thing. Like I'll never forget my great grandma when that thing got put in. She goes, "Wow, I didn't think I'd ever see that."
Oh
in
my
life."
gosh, that's so
like,
cute.
Me either. Another one, not sure if it's anything you'd be interested in, is the Stricker Ranch. It was one of the, I remember it was one of the main stops off the Oregon Trail, in Twin. So it's another one of those super old, like the Stricker Ranch house is absolutely phenomenally beautiful. I'll have to just shoot you a message and kind of give you like things if you want me to, for the Pacific Northwest, just kind of in our area, because there's just so much.
We love the suggestions. So if you have any, just keep them coming. We'll take whatever we can get, honestly. Like it's so cool. Yeah. And it's really helpful to have someone who actually like lives in the area and knows, all about it, because we can talk about it, but we haven't been there. Like there's areas around here that we can talk about and we know things like details and things, but it's really cool to talk to someone who actually lives there, because you get so much information that, you can't just find on the internet. So yeah.
No, yeah. Because I mean, it's crazy because I was even like, I'm curious what's on the internet about the TB hospital. And there's really not a lot of it's more about Zach and the crew coming in.
It's really hard to try to dig stuff up and like sort through what was like real and what was made up. And yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. And that's another part of it. Like, I'm really thankful for the kind of the showcase that it got. So yeah, it's really interesting living here. And a lot of people pass up a lot of these beautiful historical pieces of time that's still here. It's like, stop and take a look, because these places may not be here in another 20 years, 10, 20 years, it's people's history too. I mean, like, I know some of these families that I grew up with, that their families have been here since the late 1800s kind of thing. Like, they helped settle this area. Like, I just don't want that to get lost. And it's fun to hear about, not just fun, but to hear about the darker side of it, like still going on there from the past to this day, whether it be residual, whether it be intelligent, beings that are still like trying to reach out, like,
right,
where they're at. Like, whoa, what is this thing in your hand? Oh, it's my cell phone. I always think about those kinds of things, and especially dealing with for the first time really in my life, having to deal closely with more on the traumatic side of death, and just my curiosity diving into what it all means to.
It's a little different when you have to like go through it yourself, and you form different opinions, I think, about things.
I really believe you do. And like I said, I've had some crazy negative attachments that I didn't know if I was gonna kind of come back from, and then dealing with the negative experience at the TB hospital, just those kinds of things. And so I love Gooding. I love the TB hospital, and just this monument that it is, that's still standing there today. Like, it really is like, welcome to Gooding. Like, it's kind of crazy.
So cool. And I did want to say too, how we got in contact with you is I was commenting on a bunch of stuff on Facebook, like just trying to get people to tell me stories. I'm like, does anyone have a story? Does anyone have a story? And you're the only one that messaged me or commented back that had a story. And this is what we like to do with like the hauntings and stuff. Well, I mean, maybe some of the true crime one day we'll get to talk to people, but like, it's cool to see everyone else's experience. And
really quick too. So from where my great grandma bought her house in 74 to the university is like 2 blocks. So like, you literally like kind of go down this road and out to the main road, and there's the university. There's the university. So it's really cool. Like, I'll take some videos and stuff and see if I can get them to you guys.
That would be so awesome.
I just I like helping other wonderfully nerdy, intelligent people indulge into their love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking.
I was really excited to do this.
Just thank you.
Thank you.
No. So yeah, like I said, I will get those things for you guys. Probably won't be in the next couple of days because got everything else in the world going on. But I'm going to get pictures and stuff to you guys, because I know that would be something probably that you'd like to see and get a little more in depth on. Like I said, Gooding is such a cool, interesting little town.
We'll definitely have to visit one day.
Yes. If you guys ever seriously get a chance to come over here, I'm all about being a tour guide.
Excellent.
Our plan is to make tour guides in every city. Or make friends in every city, so we can have tour guides.
And my mom is an amazing cook, and so she likes to feed people.
There you go. We're set. We're on our way.
My mom's everybody's mom.
It's so funny. I'm going to be your tour guide to the snacks now. We're definitely going to snack for a minute, just for a minute before we get started with the.
Oh yeah, we need snacks.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Yes, you as well. And again, thank you so much. And I look forward to talking more.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, boys and girls.
Theys and thems. Have a creepy ass day. See you next Tuesday.
So, for all of you that are listening, if you have any true crime or paranormal stories that you want us to share, maybe with the whole Pacific Northwest.
Yes, we would love to read them on the pod.
Yes, we will read them out loud.
Not just in our heads.
Yes. They don't have to be from the Pacific Northwest if you would like to share. Email us at pnwhauntsandhomicides@gmail.com. It's all spelled out, no special characters. Super duper easy peasy.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Same thing as the email at pnwhauntsandhomicides, all spelled out, no special characters. Please also rate and review us on whatever platform you're listening to, and check out our stories on social media because our meme game is hot.
Agreed.
And if you agree, like Caitlin, you can also find us on Patreon and support the show.
Bitchin'. Ciao.